Yo, what's up guys, it's Shade here, and today we are here with our Week 6 game of the APA Academy Season 2. This week we're going up against Coach ODDSARE and his Memphis Bewears. He just took over for Alex Cole Rocket as he had to drop the league due to some reason. I'm not really sure why, but it's whatever. And so now we have Odds here, and this is his first week here into the APA Academy. He was there in Season 1, but he did drop about halfway through. So now he is back to hopefully finish up this season. So yeah, we're just gonna hop right into the teams that of course both of us have, and what I decided to bring against his team. So yeah, I am bringing, or no, I'm not bringing, but I have the Lugia, the Ash Greninja, Mega Charizard X, Florges, Milotic, Snorlax, Hitmontop, Registeel, Rotom, Rhydon, Gourgeist, and Azelf, with my Z users being Rotom, Gourgeist, and Azelf. Whereas he has a pretty scary roster. He has Mega Lucario, Deoxys Speed, Thundersai, Toxapex, Comfey, Porygon Z, Gligar, Goodra, Cresselia, Crawdaunt, Shuckle, and Lurantis, with the Z mons being Thundy, Porygon Z, and that Goodra. So that is the team that we both have. I decided to bring against him a pretty specially defensive Florges. They did have some physical defense for, I wish I could remember, but I do have some. It was obviously live a roll. I think it was honestly to live a Meteor Mash from that Mega Lucario from Full After Rocks, because I do have the Bewears on this, so I want to say that's why. I have Moonblast, Wish, Protect, Defog. I just needed a Defogger on the squad. Next we have our pretty specially defensive Lugia, because in my mind going into this match I thought that the Nasty Plot Lucario was really nice with Bullet Punch. I honestly understood that he could bring special, just because it's just as good. Or no, sorry. I thought that he would bring special, which is why I made my Lugia Spadef. But I thought that he would be kind of a mix out with Bullet Punch, or have both Vacuum Wave and Bullet Punch, because I knew Vacuum Wave would be nice for my my Ash Greninja. But I mean, Bullet Punch still did a lot to my Ash Greninja, so I could see him, you know, not bringing Vacuum Wave at all and bringing physical. So we kind of need to scout out what that has. We got Psychic, Ice Beam, Roost, and the Whirlwind, just so I can phase him out in case he tried to like set up an SD, or with the Cresselia if he had tried to Calm Mind up on my Lugia. Next we have our Registeel. Mainly brought this as a pretty physically defensive wall for that Crawdaunt there. And I really wanted Rocks on this team, since I thought I'd be Whirlwinding a lot with Lugia this game. So I thought Rocks would be nice to chip his team as they got Whirlwinded out. Next we have Azelf with the Bug Z, with Psychic, Signal Beam, U-Turn, Taunt, just an offensive mon, meant to do offensive things, and the Z-Bug for that Cresselia. Next we have our Milotic, which is physically defensive, meant to help deal with that Crawdaunt also, with Scald, HP, Electric, Recover, and Haze. Haze obviously to stop any setup that like maybe the Cresselia wants to do. Recover to get back health, Skull for Step, and HP Electric for that Crawdaunt, because Crawdaunt could eat the hits up pretty well, so being able to chip that thing a bit easier would be nice. And lastly we have our Mega Charizard with Dragon Claw, Earthquake, SD Roost. His team was very slow, and the only thing that outsped us was like Mega Lucario and the Deoxys Speed. And so I thought SD would be nice, just to get up to +2 and then hit his team even harder. So yeah, that's what we're bringing. We're going to hop into the battle right now against Odds. I believe I decided to lead off with the Azelf, because I thought I could just get a pretty decently fast U-turn off on his team. I want to say that's what I did. Yeah, that's what I did. So that's what we're going to lead off with, the Azelf here, Playboy Carti, as he decided to lead off with his Thunders. And here, honestly, I consider this a misplay. I think I misplayed completely. Here I just decided to click the U-turn, and had he gotten, and if he was like Prankster T-Wave, which is something I realized after I clicked the button, and while he was sitting there waiting for him to make his move, I got extremely scared that that's what he did, because had that happened, my Azelf would have been slower than his Mega Lucario, and that would have been a complete problem for my team. So I'm really glad that he did not click Prankster move there. So here he's gonna click full switch and he gets a crit, which is unfortunate because I'm pretty sure had he not been adamant, he turned out to be adamant, I'm pretty sure. But from Jolly, I lived the Meteor Mash into Volt Switch, which is why I went into it, because I knew Mega Lucario would come in. And I was completely fine stacking my Forges because he didn't bring that Shuckle, so I didn't have to worry about webs. So I thought I was 100% fine with letting it go down to get the Moonblast damage off. But luckily he goes in and misses the Meteor Mash, which is great for me. I'm glad that happened. Here I quick Protect just to kind of see what he wants to do. I saw no reason not to, as he just clicks Meteor Mash again. I thought maybe he would reveal a different move. Not the case. Here I'm going to swap out though because I don't see a problem in staying in. I do have my Lugia, and although it is especially defensive, thanks to the multi-scale, we can definitely take 2 Meteor Mashers from this thing at full. That's exactly what I opt to do. And here, obviously he's not going to want to stay in. He did not kill me with any move here, so he is of course going to swap out and go out into, I believe, his Thunders. Yeah, that's what I thought. I was really close to Ice Beaming predicting that, but I just thought the Psychic would be no, actually double predicting. I know it definitely was not this. I double predicting something on his team. What was it? I want to say I doubled predicting the. What I have out the Lugia? So probably the Toxapex or the Deoxys. No, I think I was actually predicting the Crawdont that turn. I definitely think I was predicting the Crawdont, and I went hard into that. But I'm gonna go out into my Registeel on that Thunders just because I didn't want to go out into my Forges. I didn't want to get any chipped anymore, and of course this is going to bait in the Mega Lucario. No matter what I went into, Mega Lucario was pretty much always going to come in unless it was the Azelf, but I don't want Azelf to get chipped because we do want to take either a Bullet Punch or an Aqua Jet from the Mega Lucario or Crawdont, which we can do from full. And like Mega Lucario is such a problem for my team. I really had no switching, and I really had to just predict whether it'd be physical or special. Obviously, it ended up being physical this matchup. But like even Hitmontop, even if he got intimidated off, it's just such a problem. And Hitmontop had such a bad matchup. It was just a terrible thing. He could have set the SD though as I go out into my Lugia, which I was going to sack. And he actually misses another Meteor Mash, which really sucked. He would have killed me. And at that point, I may have just lost the game. The only way I had won at this point was had he either A, not had Bullet Punch, or B, literally Bullet Punch was a 50% roll to kill. My Azelf, Bullet Punch was a 50% chance to kill. So I would have needed that or him not having Bullet Punch was the only way I was winning the game. Otherwise, he literally just swept me there. So I'm pretty happy he missed. I mean, it's really unfortunate for him, but I'm really happy it did happen. Here though, he of course he was forced to swap out and go out into Thunderous. I went out into my Registeel. No, he went out into Goodra on my thing, and then I went out into my Registeel. Here he's gonna go into Thunderous, and I am just fine letting my Registeel go down. To be honest, it's really not like the biggest deal. If I get these rocks up, that's all I want. I really don't need this thing too much. It's here to stop the Comfey from sweeping and stuff like that. And of course, with it not being here, we are in a good position. It's also there to stop the Porygon Z from being annoying. So I'm fine with letting this go down. He is going to go out into his Thunderous here. He is going to Sludge Wave predicting my Forges, which is, you know, unfortunate for him. And then I believe, I don't know if he did a second time or if he missed the Focus Blast there. I think he missed the Focus Blast, which is unfortunate for him because as you're going to see this turn, which was something at the moment of the battle, I just completely didn't think about it until after it moved, just because on that turn I was like, damn, I'm getting a lot of hacks against Odd. That's unfortunate, so I just wasn't thinking about it at the time. I was just like, I'm in a great position now because of this. I mean, it's unfortunate and all that. So that's kind of what was going on in my head. I 100% knew he was going to have the Titanium Z going into this matchup. That is 100% what I thought he'd be. And so I should have doubled and would have doubled predicting the Z it out into like my Forges probably. But just because I wasn't really thinking at the time, I let my Registeel take this big Titanium Z to the face. And we are going to live, which is how the Focus Blast missed. It was really, really unfortunate. because had he not missed Focus Blast, this would have been killed, and he would have still had his Thunderous, although it would have probably been a sack. I think it dead to rocks. He still would have had the Thunderous nonetheless. So that would have, you know, been nice for him to have as a sack later in the game, possibly. And you'll see where maybe that would have helped. Here you can go out into Mega Lucario, and even though my Registeel is super weak, we can't allow this Mega Lucario to just kind of like set up for free. It lives in SD, or it lives a Seismic Toss. So my whole plan there is if he tried to SD, then Lugia would get the leftovers, and then I'd double back out into my Registeel and sack it there, go back out into my Lugia to get leftovers again. Just try to get 2 leftovers over, just so, because after 2 leftovers I hit from that Mega Lucario and I could kill it. But luckily he just ended up just going for Meteor Mash twice. I was fine letting my Lugia go down there. Here I'm just going to go out into my Charizard and get the EQ off. I did not want to Mega Evolve yet, just because I resist his Close Combat and his Meteor Mash if I do not Mega. So I decided not to yet. And here he's going to go out into his Goodra. And here, the fact that he went into Goodra, I 100% thought that he'd be a gooey Habanberry set. And so I did not want to Mega and Dragon Claw it and then him live and me have to catch a Draco. So I'm going to go out into my Forge just as he did click Draco. So that is leading me to think that he is a Habanberry gooey set. Here he's going to go out into his Toxapex as I throw up the Wish, and I go out into my Azelf, I believe. I threw up the Wish. I might have actually kicked Moonblast there. I don't remember if I'm being honest. But here he is just going to click Toxic, so I'm glad that my Forge didn't get Toxic. I don't mind his Elf getting Toxic here, but it's still like not the greatest thing. Here I am just going to click the Psychic and just try to get off as much damage as I can against the Toxapex. Nothing on this team really appreciate this Psychic. I did not think that he'd go into Cardon, so. I am going to get the Spadef drop though, which is definitely unfortunate because he did plan to recover stall me here, and I was going to be forced to U-turn out this next turn. But luckily I did get the Spadef drop, unfortunate for him. And so now I am going to here, knowing he's 100% switching out, I am going to click the Signal Beam. I really wish I had popped the Z Signal Beam against this Crawdon. I really don't know why I didn't. Oh no, I didn't. I clicked U-turn predicting the swap. But yeah, that makes more sense. I was like, there's no reason for me not to click the Z Signal Beam there if I'm predicting the swap with the Crawdon. But no, I just U-turn predicting the swap, and he did go out and do his Crawdon. And now we can go out of my Milotic, as he actually DDs, probably thinking that he lives a Scald, which he probably did, just hoping he didn't get a burn, or I didn't get a burn. But I am going to whip out, of course, the HP Electric here, which I said I had specifically for this product, and it is going to go down to my Milotic. Here he's going to go out and do his Deoxys, and I believe here I just stay in, because I didn't really see what this thing would do to me, or not I didn't see, but I didn't really know what this thing would do to me. I believe I do just stay in and fire off a Skull. The Seed actually decides to set up his rocks, which is really unfortunate. I am going to have to get my Forges back in to get rid of these hazards, because that's going to hurt my Mega Charizard a lot, and Mega Charizard can live a hit from the Lucario if it did not set up an SD if I'm not Mega'd. But with the rocks up, I can no longer do that. I think Meteor Mash or Close Combat probably does about 55%, so those rocks up is not good for me. Here I am going to get fire off a second Scald, and unfortunately get the burn to see Toxic to me. That's unfortunate for him that I got the burn, but thankfully, because he Toxic me, that means that I now have my Marvel Scale, so maybe I can live a hit from that Mega Lucario now, so that might have actually worked against him. I'm not sure if he really thought about that in the battle, but that might help me a lot. Here I'm just going to fire off another Scald, and I'll have the Deoxys drop, and he is going to go out, I believe, out into his Toxapex here to continue to Timer Stall me. Or, yeah, he's going to go into Toxapex here. Not Timer Stall me, but to Toxic Stall me, I should say, just because HP Electric is doing nothing. And here I think this is the time where I can just go to my 40% Defog. I don't imagine this thing has anything to touch me. Probably Scald, Recover, Haze, Toxic was my guess. But he actually gunk shots me as I go out into my Fortress, and that was unfortunate because, I mean, that was just a really good play on odds. As part, I am not mad. I don't know if he predicted that or just that was just his strongest move to hit me. I just did not think he'd have gunk shot, if I'm being honest. But luckily, we are able to go out here into our Mega Charizard, and I am doing a Mega Evolve here because I don't see any reason not to at this point. just because if I don't Mega Evolve, yeah, I would be able to take the hit from the Mega Lucario if I can get the Roost off, but this Scald would be doing a ton to me, so I did not want to have to worry about that. So I do just go into this and set up an SD, as he does Quick Toxic here. So that's good for me, because I actually can Quick Roost, knowing that I can live any hit from this thing, which I want to say I do here. I do believe I Quick Roost before anything. Is that what I do, or do I just click EQ? I don't remember what I do. I might have just clicked EQ just because I didn't. I think Toxic plus Gunk Shot was just gonna end up doing as much as a Roost would, so it wasn't really gonna help me too much in the end. Like, I might have gotten like 6% off, like more health the first time around, but then the second time around Toxic would have like kind of combated the 6% I earned, so it wouldn't have really mattered. So I do just click EQ as he does go out into his Scooter and just sacks it off. I actually did learn after the game that he was a ball and gooey, so I'm really glad earlier in the game I didn't Mega and just Dragon Claw it. So that's good for me. He is going to go out into Mega Lucario. I don't really need the Charizard at this point, so I'm just going to let it go down to the close combat. And now I can go out in my Zelf here, knowing I outspeed, just get off a free Psychic here. If he gets the Bullet Punch off, that could be really concerning, that Toxapex might be able to wall my team off. But he is actually going to reveal that he has Vacuum Wave. He actually does not have the Bullet Punch, and that just completely shocked me. After the game we talked about it. He did say, of course, he did have it for the Ash Greninja. However, in hindsight, because it's an Ash Greninja versus a Mega Lucario, at +2, that Bullet Punch was doing 70% to me or something like that. Like, it had to have been doing a ton. So in the end, Bullet Punch was definitely the move. Here, I'm going to quick taunt as he goes out and do the Toxic, because I assumed that he would probably try to Recover Stall me, which is exactly what he does. He tried to Toxic Stall me with Recover, just hoping for no Speed F drop. And, yeah, luckily make that right play. He said he did want a Gunk Shot there, and if he had, that might have honestly just been the game. It would have been very, very close. Here I am going to click Psychic as he does, and I do end up getting another Speed Def drop, which doesn't matter at all. At this point, he is just going to Scald me, and the Toxic is going to take up my Zelf. But because I did taunt, I am going to have 2 more turns here where he won't be able to recover up on me, or maybe just 1. But either way, that's all I need, because either I can go out into my Registeel and Seismic Toss him, or I can go out into my Melodic here and get off the HP Electric, and just what would have been a 2 KO without the Split F drop is now just an OKO. I mean, sorry, it's a 2 KO either way, I think. But I think the Spaghetti drop at the end just made it to where instead of a 2-0, it's a 1-0, because I think the taunt wears off here, right? We'll find out. This will tell me. Yeah, the taunt wore off. So had I not gotten the Spaghetti drop, I would have gone out into my Registeel, and I would have gotten the Seismic Toss off, and that would have put it into HP Electric range without the Spaghetti drop. But he would have gotten the Scald off and killed my Registeel since I was extremely weak. Whereas because I got the Spaghetti drop, I was able to go into my Lodic and 2 kill with HP Electric. So I think that's all that really came off of that Spaghetti drop. However, earlier in the game, you know, he missed Media Mashes. I got a Special Defense drop earlier, which was a little unfortunate. So overall, this game was really, really hacksy and unfortunate for Odd. So I'm really sorry about that. I apologize after the game. Of course, I really can't control that. Odd's my friend and all. And so that was really unfortunate for him. So yeah, that's the game. We are now up to 3-3 overall in the season. Shout out to Odds, go check him out. His stuff will be in the description below, as well as all the other coaches and the APA Academy. Odds actually specifically shout out to him because he made this layout. I keep telling myself that I put him in the description, I just forget at the time just because I've been very stressed for time as I upload these videos, and so I keep forgetting to edit the description to add him into it. I'm going to remember to do that this time, and of course, since I just copy it every single time, I will remember to add. He will be there always down in the description whether I face him or not, just to thank him for making this amazing layout, because this layout is amazing. So shout out to Odds. If you ever need GFX, hit him up. But I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Of course, we will be back week 7 against Coach 8 on 2 for 20 and his Calgary Talonflames, not Talonflames, sorry, Calgary Infernapes. So make sure to check him out. Or make sure to check that out when that comes out next Sunday. Thank you guys so much for watching once again. I hope you did enjoy. This is Shady, and I'm out. Peace.